Dear all, in this video lecture, we are going to discuss few MCQs on PDE. Question number 1. Which of the following is a linear partial differential equation? According to the definition of a linear partial differential equation, we have to check the terms. Here we see in option A, the power of uxx is 1, power of uyy is 1, and sine xy power is also 1. So this is a linear PDE. Option A is the correct answer. Now check option B. Uxx power is 1 plus u2. So here the power is 2. So this is non-linear PDE. In option C, look at here, ux2 plus uy2 equals 0. So ux power is 2, uy power is 2. Option C is also non-linear PDE. In option D, there is a term which is the product of u and ux. So this is also non-linear PDE. Question number 2, the order of the PDE. Here we see that the highest order is 2. Therefore, the order of this PDE is 2. Option B is the correct answer. Question number 3. The PDE del u del t equal alpha del 2u del x2 is known as wave equation, Laplace equation, heat equation, Poisson equation. Option C is the correct answer, heat equation. Question number 4. Which of the following is the general solution of the one-dimensional wave equation utt equal c square uxx? Out of these 4 options, option B is the correct answer. Question number 5. The equation uxx plus uyy equals 0 is elliptic, parabolic, hyperbolic, none of the above. Option A is the correct answer. As we know, general form of a second order linear PDE in 2 variables is A del 2u del x2 plus twice B del 2u del x del y plus C del 2u del y2 plus lower order terms equals 0. We classify this PDE based on the discriminant D equal B square minus AC. When D less than 0, the type is elliptic. When D equals to 0, the type is parabolic. And when D greater than 0, the type is hyperbolic. So in this question, here A equals to 1, B equals to 0, C equals to 1. Now the discriminant D equal B square minus AC, which is 0 minus 1, that is minus 1, which is less than 0. Therefore, the type is elliptic. The correct answer is option A. Question number 6. The method of separation of variables assumes the solution of PDE is of option A uxt equal f of x plus t, option B uxt equal xx plus tt, option C uxt equal xx multiplied tt. So this is the correct answer because here the product of x and t. Question number 7. The characteristic equation for the PDE auxx plus 2buxy plus cuyy equals 0. Considering d equals to del del x, d prime equals to del del y, this equation becomes f of d prime equals 0, which gives psi 2m equals 0, second degree equation in m, So if we put here am2 plus twice bm plus c equals 0, this is option C, which is the correct answer. Question number 8. If a PDE contains the term del u del x whole square, then it is option A linear, option B non-linear, option C homogeneous, option D parabolic. Option B is the correct answer because here the power is 2, more than 1. So this is non-linear equation. Question number 9. The PDE utt minus c square uxx equals 0 is classified as option A elliptic, option B parabolic, option C hyperbolic, option D none of the above. Again, let us classify based on the discriminant. D equal b square minus ac. Here A equal minus c square, b equal 0, c equal 1. So D is 0 minus of minus c square, that is plus c square, which is greater than 0. So the type is hyperbolic. Option C is the correct answer. Question number 10. In the method of separation of variables, boundary conditions are used to option A determine the form of the solution, option B determine arbitrary constants, option C determine the eigenvalues and eigenfunctions, option D determine the type of PDE. Here option C is the correct answer to determine the eigenvalues and eigenfunctions. Here are a few questions. Test yourself. Question number 11. The Laplace equation in 2 dimensions is. Question number 12. A solution of a PDE that contains no arbitrary function is called. Question number 13. Which of the following is the correct classification for the equation uxx plus 2uxy plus uyy equals 0? Question number 14. The Poisson equation is. Question number 15. The Dirichlet boundary condition specifies. These are 5 questions. The answers are given in description box. Thanks for watching. If you have any question, please drop in the comment box.